Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. We've got some more MDL LAN action. I'm ODPixel. I'm here with Draskyl. We've got MVP Phoenix up against Newbee. This is, of course, Group A's winner bracket matchup. MVP, I believe, took down LGD in the first round, and, of course, Newbee, they managed to knock down Team Secret. But now, here they are, meeting at the top. Andy, are you there?
I am here indeed.
Absolutely excellent. And Andy, I mean, this matchup, I mean, MVP and Newbee, that over that side of the world, arguably probably two of the strongest teams there at the moment.
I would assume so. I mean, both teams obviously having new players, but
yes,
I guess the core squad, if you want to call it that, still remains. But looking at like the bans of picks, I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking, are we watching like TI? I guess maybe minus the OD. Because MVP, we're playing Phantom Assassin pretty much like every other game back at TI, and then, you know, Shadow Demon Luna was something that we often saw banned. So in terms of bans like MVP doing the Bat Rider and the Drow, that's pretty standard stuff from what we've seen so far. There hasn't really been a big patch or anything since the meta around TI kind of evolved, but Newbee, of course, sticking to the tailored bans against MVP, which would be the Isle and the Bounty Hunter. So nothing too out of the ordinary just yet.
No, absolutely not. And I think I was just watching EG-VG series, and I think the last game of that pretty much had the same as this. You know, you had EG with kind of your OD PA core, and of course the side of VG just loving to run the Lunar Shadow Demon, as you said, a lot of teams like to do at the moment. Kunkka ban out. Yeah, I mean, you're against the Chinese side. You don't want them to play Kunkka. The guys over there, they're pretty damn good with the old Admiral.
Yeah, Shadow Demon Kunkka is also amazing. Plus, the Coco Run buff for Luna during team fights, you'd have the Eclipse with the boat damage mitigation. That's amazing against like OD and PA. Because their roles in team fights, I mean, sure, you can defensively astral imprison people and stuff like that, but you more or less want to blow somebody up. That's like the whole purpose of the heroes that they have right now. With the Timbersaw ban, it kind of leads me to believe this is just going to be a mid OD and then PA safe lane, because Timber just absolutely can shred a PA before BKB comes out. And MVP going for their patented Darkseer. So regardless of them changing rosters, it seems like they're still feeling like they want to play the same type of style. Ion Shell and Surge with the Phantom Assassin is really great during the early game for being able to chase people down. And since Newbee actually banned Oracle themselves, they're not going to have really any super strong lane counter to it. So we'll see if they want to go for maybe an aggressive dual lane to punish the PA, or if they want to stick to just keeping the Luna safe.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about other ways of dealing with the Darkseer. I mean, I'm trying to think, is Newbee a team that would, with these players, would run something like a Kotl, just so you can, drain the old mana?
I mean, Kotl is still very good, yeah. If you look at MVP, what they're lacking right now is wave push. I mean, the only hero who can do it is Darkseer at this point, and they only really have supports left to pick. So MVP, if they want to try to pick that up, they're going to have to get something. I mean, you don't see support Lena very often, but it's just an example, right? Some hero that can actually kill creeps, because their heroes right now are not very good at it, barring the DS. So it is a possibility. I think that it's really good for sustaining the push as well, if you want to play it like super greedy and just like jungle stack and stuff like that. But here's another hero who can actually hit a fair amount of creeps himself in the Sand King, and this is again something that we were seeing a lot of at TI. But so far, I'm kind of liking what Newbee is doing a little bit more. I think it's more flexible, but in the past I've doubted MVP's ability to just run the early mid game. And I've seen, QO just go like 800 and 0 on PA 1,000 times, so I'm not actually sure if he's playing it this game, but, it's always possible.
Yes, and well, MVP now, as you said, still looking for their two supports to finish this one off.
I mean, I guess it's just up to Newbee to decide now, like, are we just going to put the Sand King, like, roam/jungle? Does he want to actually be offlane? As MVP are going to go ahead and take up the Void. This is, like, almost hero for hero what they picked at TI.
So, how is this working, Andy? What are we doing with this draft? Where's everyone going?
I think they might want to just do some...
Darkseer straight jungle?
I mean, I don't think the lanes are actually strong enough to warrant the Darkseer having to jungle. Because if you can pressure the lane with the Darkseer, you want to pressure the lane. That's, like, what the hero is made for. And I don't feel like Newbee necessarily has the best heroes at killing him unless they want to commit like 3+. And if you're committing 3 heroes to kill a Darkseer, that means the PA and the OD are both pretty much free farming. And the Void as well, I guess, at this point. But it's going to be some weird dual lane, I'm sure.
So, I mean, because were they the team that did support PA before?
MVP Phoenix.
Yes.
I think QO almost exclusively played PA back then, but that was before they changed rosters.
They never tried something...
I mean, they have changed rosters since then, so I'm not sure if they're going to change up who plays what hero, because personally, I haven't seen them play since TI. So this is actually like the first game for me.
Yeah. Dude, you talked about freaking Lena, and I was like, oh, Andy, don't be so silly. No one plays that hero. And look, Newbee, picking up Lena this game. I mean, this is different. I'm looking forward to this. This is something
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is a mid Lena actually.
Oh, you think he's a core Lena? I'd hope it. That would be great.
I mean, mid Lena actually matches up very well against OD, and I would have assumed since the way that MVP Phoenix banned that it was going to be safe lane PA.
Yeah.
I mean, it could also be safe lane OD. It's very interchangeable what they can do. I mean, hell, they could even put DS mid. It honestly, like, they could put so many other heroes mid, it doesn't even matter. But the nice thing about Lena against PA is that if you get your Aghanims at an early enough stage in the game, and you have Soul Catcher, even if you have BKB on Phantom Assassin, her strength gain is abysmal. So if you get Laguna in the face, you're pretty much dead, like, every single fight.
I mean, it's an insane amount of burst. Yeah, it goes to 850. Damn.
Yeah, and if you get like your ether lens or whatever, obviously the damage now scales with intelligence as well.
Yep.
It's actually been so long since Lena's been in the meta that intelligence scaling with spell damage didn't even exist the last time this hero was played as a core. So she actually got nothing but better since that point.
Yeah,
But
and there was that period as well, wasn't there, where Lena was just ridiculous because you just walk around the combo and delete heroes willy-nilly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it probably won't be mid, but it's possible. Because obviously having the Lena Shadow Demon combination is really potent, and it's it's just gonna. Oh, actually, KP plays Naga, so
yeah, so it'd probably be what Naga support, SK offlane, and it looks like it could be the. Oh, I guess no, Naga mid, Luna safe lane.
It would probably be Sand King Shadow Demon support, and then
yes,
Lena mid, Naga off. I don't know. This is really strange from Newbee. I haven't seen Lena. I haven't seen Lena in a while, so I'm curious how they're gonna run it, but. For MVP, they're doing the good old, I'm going to pick a bunch of melee heroes with Darkseer and kind of just run at the enemy, which is pretty standard stuff from them. So we'll see what the last hero is going to be. They definitely need another support. Because right now, I'm looking at their heroes and I don't actually see a single support.
Alright, what we got? Who's still there? Hey, Ogre's still in the boat. People love the old Ogre magic, but...
He's really good at running at people as well during the early game.
Oh.
And Bloodlust is amazing with OD and PA. It's actually not a bad, hero at all.
I mean, you would be solo supporting on the Ogre potentially. It could be having him. I'm going to go for the Rubik.
Okay. Lots of good steals.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, especially with Alina in the mix. And that could be nice. Because I guess the thing about Lena as well is there's a lot of times where you're kind of finishing your combo with the ult, so you don't always have the chance to spam a spell after it. So there's potentially that opening for Ryzen to get in and nab the Laguna Blade.
Yeah, it does look like they are going to switch up who's playing what on Newbee, by the way. I know that KP used to play Naga pretty much every single time, but since they have new players on the roster, it looks like he's going to be handling the Sand King this game, which does make sense. I mean, I was kind of thinking a core Lena could be a thing, but it's looking less and less like that's going to be the case. And for MVP Phoenix, I mean, I look at their lineup and I honestly... I mean, it's going to sound bad, but I just like 3K Dota. Like, that's what I look at their team and I see. But it's the way that they play it that makes it work, right? Because they're always hyper-aggressive. They abuse the Darkseer plus the melee hero combination together, and they always manage to make a lot of space and to do a lot during the early game. So they're going to need to do just that, because if this Naga gets off the ground, it's going to be real tough for MVP.
So kind of going on everything that you know of Dota, you'd probably say that Newbee, they've got the draft that makes more sense.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they have a lot of setup for Eclipse. They have a lot of setup for the Epicenter as well. You can just song pretty much into either of those. It's a really nice opening. It's very hard for them to counter as well. Naga's a natural counter to Void, which is why MVP decided to put Febby on it, so he's actually changed it up. It's not going to be like a core position Void or anything like that. It's more or less just going to be used exclusively for the Chronosphere, and I would assume the Time Dilation as well, which is very effective against a lot of their heroes because many of them have a lot of active skills. So, I mean, it's an MVP draft, what can you say? It's a lot of melee heroes, and they're going to run at you.
Absolutely, and it's going to be interesting, of course, as we've been saying, to see how they do lay in it, but we'll be able to see that as the game gets underway as we get in here. So, of course, Game 1 of the winner's bracket of the group stage. Group A, MVP versus Newbee. And we'll see, indeed, what the action is going to be. Febby already getting himself out into the lane, getting that early Observer Ward down. And, indeed, looks to be the one heading towards the safe lane. QO. Backed up by Ryzen at the moment. We'll see if they hang around, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a support PA. It's not a support Void.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be tasty. Yeah, Dubu. Ready with the Orb of Venom and the Blightstone?
I've seen this in so many pubs, man. It is unbelievably annoying.
And does it win games, Andy?
It absolutely wins games. It's disgusting. Because there's nothing really that counters Stifling Dagger during the early game. And the level 1 Dagger does so much more damage than it used to. You can just spam it. Newbee here going with the 5-man smoke.
I mean, yeah, this
looking
is big.
for potential wards. If they catch somebody, they're pretty much dead. It's a lot of damage.
Fairby. Be careful, son. He's coming around. He has got a time walk. He'll jump away just in time. Might be enough to stop Newbee from being able to finish off an attempt for that kill, and indeed it is. So Fairby there. It's backing off just in time, and Newbee will back off. And already, the Newbee support PA begins. I mean, that's the thing as well, I guess, with the Iron Shell. You jump on someone and it's a huge nuisance.
Yeah, the heroes of Newbee, they have a couple of ways of disengaging. You know, you have like your Sand King Stun, Light Strike Array, stuff like that. But PA excels at being able to stay on targets and abuse Iron Shell, like you were saying. So it's going to be annoying. No question about that.
Alright, as we get into it, looks like the lanes begin to settle at the moment. Kaka on the Luna and KP Sand King up towards the top lane for Newbee. Over on the side of MVP Ryzen, supporting on the Rubik. And in the safe lane, it will be Fairby at the moment on his Void. Mid lane, QO on the OD, backed up for the time being by support PA, played by Dubu. They'll be using their best abilities to harass SCCC on the Naga. And down on the bottom lane, Faith supporting on Shadow Demon. Triple U9 on the safe lane Luna, and of course leaving Velo on that off lane Darkseer. So I mean, Darkseer, you said obviously in the draft, didn't have to worry about an Oracle because it was taken out. How do we expect him to do against the SD Luna lane?
He's going to crush this lane. I don't see how they're going to do anything about it, especially since they decided to do a dual aggressive lane from the side of Newbee. So I would assume Velo to get a ridiculous amount out of this lane. He's already pushed it up. He's going to get the pull off as well. This is pretty standard Darkseer play. You're going to hit like level 3 at, you know, a minute and a half or whatever, and it becomes very, very difficult to deal with. And because of how much pressure this Darkseer is going to be able to apply, this Naga mid is going to suffer as well. Like, Dubu's just sitting here out of experience range, throwing out daggers, trying to give QO, you know, whatever lane advantage he can. And the unfortunate part is, if Kaka makes a rotation to go somewhere, it basically means that KP is going to have to be going for the jungle more or less. And if you look at his itemization, he's bought a crap load of regen, so he definitely wants to stay up here and try to get something done.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, this mid lane for SCCC already being forced to pop the south. So much harassment from Dubu, creating a lot of space for QO on the OD. And as you said, the bottom lane looking good for MVP as well. I mean, so if you're Newbee, how do you look to kind of punish the fact that you've got already these two lanes that just go pretty disastrously?
Well, I mean, the Luna's still getting farmed. It's not necessarily like the Luna's not going to get anything out of the lane. It's more just that the Darkseer is going to get more than you want him to unless you rotate another support. But we've seen already that Kaka has decided to go ahead and just teleport down, but he's a little bit slow getting to the rune. Probably means that Velo's going to be able to pick this up, and that's just more for him, right? And I'm sure they've already communicated the fact that there was, you know, Kaka leaving the lane. So now MVP are just going to go ahead and send Velo to the jungle instead and not risk giving away a kill. And at the moment, you know, Newbee don't even have a smoke, so they can't like smoke gank mid or, you know, go to the safe lane or whatever. It's just kind of just doing some pulls and trying to get whatever experience and gold you can.
Mid lane, and Kyo trying to go in, but I mean, it's a similar story in the mid as the bottom, even though, you know, we're looking at the matchups and saying it's going to be hard. SCCC with the illusions and with the Riptide, he's keeping up there in the CS. He's 9 for 2, ahead of QO at the moment, so dealing very nicely with the harassment that's been given out, and already has had another Sow come out to him as he did pop the earlier one, so he is certainly preparing himself nicely for the lane and dealing with it very well as well.
Now, over time, he's going to have to spend more and more money on regen, though. Because every time you eat a dagger, it's such an efficient spell in regards to how much damage it deals for the mana. It's like 80 to 100 damage, give or take, depending on how much the target has, for 30 mana. It's an incredibly efficient spell, and one of the main reasons why support PA actually works. Because you don't have to commit that much to be annoying. And plus, you know, he's got Essence Storm, so...
Kaka's come across now to help SCCC out as well with the situation. And Dubu, I mean, he's still getting levels. He's level 3 on the PA. How do you keep yourself relevant in a game playing as the support PA? How do you find yourself that farm? Because I imagine if you fall behind, you're not really the quickest hero to catch up in flash farm.
No, you're not really looking to take a lot of space on the map. You're really just looking to do what you're doing now. He's just sitting in range of QO and spamming daggers. Every time he gets an Essence Aura proc, he pretty much gets refunded the entire cost of the dagger. And as the dagger gets higher level, it's going to cost even less mana, so he can almost do it indefinitely. Because even at level 1 Essence Aura nowadays, it's a 40% chance to restore 10% of your mana. So 1 in every 2 or 3 daggers, you're pretty much going to get it in. Kaka throwing out the stun. Oh, nice regen pick there.
Dubu?
He might be dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's going to look to chase this one down. Dubu is going to have another dagger in a few seconds. Tries to throw out the stun Kaka, but he's going to miss him. Dubu, one final dagger will do it in first blood for the support Dubu PA.
I don't know how Kaka didn't get that rune. He landed the Light Strike Array, and then somehow Newbee still managed to pick it up. That was really bizarre. I'm not sure if he would have had the mana to chase him like that. Although he did have a Clarity, so maybe he would have been dead either way. But that's another thing too. With Orb of Venom and Stifling Dagger, it's a 6-second cooldown on Dagger. If you get hit, you're pretty much going to get chased to a tower until you can actually force the PA to go away, because you're never really going to be able to win in a trade. So it's a really powerful tool against these kind of squishier supports like Shadow Demon and Lina.
And what kind of build can we expect from Newbee on the PA this game? Does he just try and build a Vlad's, get an aura online for the team? Or does he still go for the Desolator?
Vlad's is really good. I've seen some people do Medallion. Phase Boots into something pretty much is the build most of the time. Because you want your dagger to do the most amount of damage per cast, which is why Phase is usually the choice. You don't buy treads much on PA even if you were a core, so... Just so far, it's more Newbee being incredibly annoying. But like you were saying, it's not as if you know, SC is getting completely shut down. He's just being hindered a bit. Yeah,
absolutely. He just backs up, gets the illusions out, looks for the Riptide. Mid lane, Newbee, they want to try and make a bit of a play. They're moving in onto QO. Faith with the setup. Disruptions there. Kaka should be able to hit the stun. Indeed he does. The burst comes out. QO's down. Newbee with a very nice rotation, making this lane a little bit sweeter for SCCC. As we said, already been dealing very well with the dual lane that MVP have been thrown against him, and now getting himself involved in a kill on QO.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice rotation. The ward was just placed there from MVP. They get a D-ward. It was a fresh one. It was probably down for about 30 seconds.
Oh, look at this as well. Faith, as soon as Disruption comes off cooldown, using it again. Kaka claritying up. Hasn't got enough for the second spell, but the right click should be enough, and indeed Newbee. These movements, again, finding pickoffs. The Lina SD combo, not something that we've been used to seeing for the past patch or so. That's showing that it's still got a lot of strength here at the moment.
It's very, very high damage as well. Like, if you get a Disruption off, you get some Shadow Poison stacks and a Soul Catcher, especially once Kaka hits level 6, you're just gonna explode. There's really not a lot of heroes who can live through that kind of burst damage. And, you know, we were talking a lot about the supports on the side of Newbee, but also have to keep in mind, you know, KP, he's almost level freaking 7.
He's having a great time.
It's 6 minutes in, he's got his Tranquils. I mean, killing him is very tough.
Yeah,
the damage of MVP's safe lane without the use of things like Ion Shell is pretty much non-existent. So where MVP were applying a pressure towards the middle lane and to a lesser extent bottom lane, KP has been able to just do whatever the hell he wants. And that's going to mean a lot faster Blink Dagger, and it's going to mean that he's going to be very high level in the early game.
I mean, at the moment, 2-1 and Kaka, you know, with the fact that he's been involved in those kills, picking up the Arcanes at 7 minutes in, it's going to help him even more with his movements around the map. MVP look to be the ones to make a bit of a play now. Ryzen for the first time leaving the top lane and coming around with Newbee.
This is a very hard gank, though. There's an Eclipse available here on this Luna.
They could totally turn, and Kaka, I mean, if they get a kill involved, he might even get the level 6 this fight. So, yeah, MVP have to be very careful about how they take this. We can see Faves there behind them, maybe with defensive disruption, but they get the opening coming in straight away. The Newbee support's down. Velo trying to run himself out of there. There'll be a return void coming in with Febi's Chrono, trying to turn the fight around. They take Kaka. Fave disrupting Febi, trying to hold him back. They've lost 2 on MVP, though. MVP, they need to find more. They've got a time walk jumping forward, looking for triple U9. They'll take it. Double kill for Febi. So MVP do lose 2, but a good rotation from Febi means that they are able to find a good trade out of it and take down that Luna safe lane.
Yeah, the ward kind of started the fight off a bit awkwardly there for MVP. They lose a hero pretty much straight away. Velo sacrificed himself to get the Ion Shell up on Febi, but it was worth it because they ended up killing the Luna. Obviously, ultimates on both teams were expended, but in the grand scheme of things, MVP are going to be able to deal a lot of damage to this tower. Not sure if they get it, but yeah, they now know the ward's there. Velo's pinging. It's like, yeah, he just walked into you and casted Eclipse, so it's pretty obvious at that point. But yeah, so far it's a relatively even exchange. The big concern, again, though, is, you know, the Naga Siren's just pretty much free farming away. KP didn't make a rotation, so he's more than halfway to his blink. I think MVP are certainly feeling the pressure here.
I know, so once KP gets that blink online, the amount of burst and setup and movement that Newbee can make around the map, it's going to be pretty scary for MVP, especially if they haven't got Febi's Chronosphere to rely on for the potential turnaround in these fights. So Febi, of course, yeah, still 1 minute until that's back, and already Newbee looking to make something happen, whilst they know that that threat's not going to be there in the game. KP and Kaka moving around towards the mid. Let's see if they can find anything. Febi might, in fact, walk up into the jungle. We'll see if he's making his way back up to the safe lane. He's coming across. Kaka and KP still sticking together. They've got that Laguna Blade. Just level 6 has come online for Kaka, so anyone that appears, if they get caught, then a lot of trouble. Febby, he's going to start to farm. They try and go for the stun, but Febby backs it off. Febby, to turn this around, maybe pops the time dilation, jumps forward. He's got backup coming in as well. Velo's there, as well as Dubu. They'll jump in onto Kaka, drop the Laguna Blade immediately onto Dubu, but that's not enough damage. They'll end up losing the Lina, Newbee. And MVP reacting to that as Newbee come across with the two of them, stick around for a little bit too long, and maybe just a little bit too hungry to try and use that Laguna Blade.
Yeah, they were looking for somebody besides Febby. He's one of the tankier heroes. Like on Strength Treads, he has around 1300 health, and if you don't kill him in the burst, he's just going to time walk away. So it was a bit unfortunate that that was the one hero who kind of revealed the gank, and he got a time dilation off on both of them after the LSA was missed by Kaka. So a bit unfortunate. They did force a little bit of a reaction there from MVP, but not the kind of rotations that you're looking for.
Got to be careful with these moves as well. I mean, at the least, of course, whilst that was going on, KP continues to get space on the Sand King, and indeed 1600 towards that Blink Dagger top lane. They'll be trying to let Tabba go. They don't have a Laguna Blade for this one though, but with the Epicenter and a good life strike rate, it might just be enough, but no! The burst isn't enough, and Febby able to time walk out. Newbee, they give it their best, but as you said, Febby, at this stage, you know, fairly tanky, and without that Laguna Blade, unlikely to get the kill.
That was... imagine if they just had Laguna, he would definitely be dead. Because that was a perfectly chained stun there from Newbee.
Oh, look at this MVP. Got eyes onto S-Triple-C. Straight into Ryzen, ripping the Naga Siren to shreds.
That was so well played by Ryzen. He had the stolen Lucent Beam from earlier. He gets it off right away, steals the Riptide after SC used it, and then used it to burst him down before he was able to get the song. That was perfectly executed by the Rubik.
Smart plays from an MVP at the moment, as Newbee have slipped up a couple of times in the last minute. KP still 1800 towards the Blink bottom lane. Triple U9 and Faith applying pressure to the tower. We'll see if Velo can get a cheeky deny. Yeah, he doesn't want to risk it. There is a TP coming through, and in fact, Dubu jumping onto Faith, but Triple U9 coming out with the old Febby. Getting bursted low, but he time walked it out. The Chrono's down. Faith's out. He's caught the Luna as well. They're both gone. Febby again with these plays.
That
beautiful
was
Chrono.
Insane. That was on the edge of two different heroes. Like, they were spaced so well, I thought that he would only be able to get one, but he throws out the greedy sphere, hits both, and they end up cleaning up the Luna and the Shadow Demon. That was insane.
Febby doing it absolutely each and every time that the team needs him there with the Chronos. Just TPing him, reacting perfectly, and this time MVP will be able to find a tower in reaction. And what do you think about this anyway? So going back over to QO, this game, he is going to be picking up the Midas on the OD.
The pacing of the game with a Naga on the other team would indicate that, you know, both teams are going to feel like going late is almost inevitable, unless MVP gets some like crazy team fights going and just completely restrict the map. But it's going to be hard, right? Because Sand King can push the waves, you know, you got Lina support can push the waves, you know, Naga Siren pretty much does the same thing. And as we spoke about during the draft, MVP doesn't really have the capability of pushing the waves that hard. So Newbee can delay the game, and QO is thinking to himself, okay, attack speed still benefits OD because I have Arcane Orb, that's a lot of my damage. All I really need to do is stay relevant on farm, and Midas is a great choice to do that.
And this is a really nice bit of a play here from MVP, moving into the pit, taking this with Newbee having no idea whatsoever what's going on. They do manage to find a tier 1 tower top, but of course the trade for MVP, very much favourable, as progression continues to go back and forth kind of. It's very close at the moment. Net worth only 500. Advantage
this is
MVP.
dangerous.
And QO being caught out the Laguna. Oh, it's enough. They pop the Aegis. MVP coming through. We'll see if maybe want to stick around and fight for this one now. They're going to TP out. KP does have a Blink Epi online. He's still going to hang around here. They don't have Naga.
Yeah, they don't have Naga, but Newbee had vision, so they were going to see MVP rotating over. Okay, they walk out of the ward range. They are going to smoke. No Chrono yet.
Dubu's going to come back across. Is he going to get eyes on anyone? Coming up to the high ground. Newbee, they're kind of split up at the moment. In fact, an epi attempt from KP coming in onto QO with the Light Strike Array. They'll do it, but they may just pay with their lives. MVP coming around, looking to punish, getting Kaka with the telekinesis. He's down. KP trying to juke it out in the tree line. He's going to go for the TP. They go for the blind Chrono, but this time, Febby's had a few beautiful ones. That one, it was a good attempt, but not good enough. Just off the mark as the TP out from KP is successful. So MVP losing an OD, only getting the Lina support. So a very, very nice epicenter and escape from KP.
Yeah, the Aegis from MVP there did nothing. Like, he lost the first one before the reaction from his team came. Then he died again because he thought he was safe. Because he had 3 or 4 of his teammates in the area. So he's like, there's no way they're going to go for this kill. But in the grand scheme of things, I'll trade a Lina support for an OD any day of the week. And Newbee are going to be looking real good after that.
Absolutely. Well, top lane. Ping from KP onto Febby. If he gets a +1, they could try and do something. Laguna Blades at the ready. TP's on cooldown. As it looks like Kaka's just moved over towards the mid lane. And we'll see. Wow, the progression's going out. Let's go for Zest yeah. He is getting close to that relic timing. So we're at that point of the game where a death on the Naga would be very painful. Probably why in that fight up top we saw SCC just choose to straight up disengage. He doesn't want to risk falling at this stage when he's that close to his key item. Just about 600 gold to go. And indeed, TPing over to join the team. Making sure that there's no chance that MVP can pick him off. I mean, with the full backup of his side, maybe they could try and make something happen. They're using KPs to push out the top lane. Nearly hitting on to level 11. And MVP just standing strong towards the middle. And of course, probably waiting for Febby to get that Chronosphere back online, which has pretty much been crucial for MVP in each of these fights.
Yeah, without the lockdown, it's more or less impossible for them to fight. The problem is going to start to come when, you know, MVP later down the road, if they start getting some more towers and start to try to breach high ground, you have like Epicenter, Eclipse, and Naga Siren Song to have to deal with, and that is very daunting. So I think that MVP kind of want to do more at this stage in the game with their respective heroes, because their damage is going to kind of fall off. OD is going to be the one who's doing the majority of it. And then you're going to have this Void who's building the support build, which is the Vlad's, I would assume, into a Blink Dagger next, because he needs that item for positioning. With that kind of build, you're just not really... You're not bringing the damage to fights, you're bringing the control and the utility, so at some point, Newbee's wave clear, their ability to keep the map control pushed out all the time, and their AoE teamfight is going to become really, really hard for MVP to deal with, so I'm curious how they're going to play this.
We can see SCC, he has got that relic picked up now, so that hurdle's been climbed. And Tackle KP being very sneaky with his positioning, consistently just keeping himself up on the top lane, hanging around, maybe look to see if he can set something up from behind. There'll be a TP across from Kaka. Below in the lane. If he reveals himself, KP might try and find an opening, but at the same time has to be careful as MVP keeps swarming back and forward through their own jungle, just in case any kind of play is made towards the top half of the map. U9 just keeping himself back. Dragonlance, Helm, 1200 gold. Actually making a movement across. The Luna's got to be careful. Ryzen seeing if he can get some sort of a latch down against the ward out. And they do want to make a play top. 4 of them from the side of MVP wrapping around onto Kaka in a lot of trouble here. He'll drop down the stun, but the vacuum back from Bello means that they'll take the Lina.
Oh no! What was that Eclipse?
Oh dear.
Alright, so we've had two Biff ultimates so far this game. One from the Void, one from the Luna. But you know what happens.
Maybe just feeling that they could go in. They did still have KP behind the side of MVP, but I mean, going in like that, I reckon as soon as they realized that there was more than, what, 2 or 3 heroes there, the call was made to back out. It's not a good fight for them to take.
They have to give this up. There is nothing they can do. They're gonna go for a trade, which is the right call. And MVP having their ultimates all available, they want to try to go for some sort of punish here. They were already running 2 heroes across the map, like Debbie being one of the main initiators.
Absolutely, yeah. Look at this positioning. Coming around behind the tier 1. You got to be careful, Newbee. They're not careful enough. Kaka immediately gets chronoed by Febby. Lina's going to be taken down. They'll get the tower. KP's still hiding in the tree line, but they know he's there. He will blink up to the north, in fact, and the Duke's successful. And he'll be spotted out by the creeps, but he's gone. He's not going to be here for this defense necessarily, because TP's still on cooldown for 20 seconds. So MVP keeping the pressure on. And just a little bit of a misplay from Kaka coming forward to that tier 1 when we always knew it was going to be a risky move from Newbee if they wanted to try and do anything to stop that push on the tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a support at the end of the day, and he did get chronoed, while Newbee still managed to get the tier 1 mid. So it's not like the worst thing in the entire world, but MVP realized the pressure that they're under, so they're trying to do everything they can to just restrict map control away from Newbee, prevent Naga Siren from getting that extra item on top of the Radiance, because, you know, as Seed just finished up the Radiance during that team fight, or not really a team fight, but more of a slaughter in the top lane. But yeah, it's still, you know, MVP being on that timer, and they just need to keep up this pressure.
And some big items coming out now. QO opting to go for the Rod of Atos on his OD build this game, and over on the side of Newbee, Faith has managed to muster up the gold to buy that Blink Dagger. So we are going to have that extra potential of saving and initiating. Kaka needs to be a little bit careful here. MVP still over Newbee's side of the map around the Ancients. Kaka is going to be spotted out by this ward. He'll drop a sentry. Yeah, it's got a ward on the high ground at the moment. And in fact, the jump in, there it is. MVP coming in, coming out. KP's there. MVP realizing that they need to get themselves out. Dubu should be caught out by the Burrow Strike. Can they save this man? Light Strike coming down.
Oh,
Jump across the ult from Unite coming through, and this time is a great one. Gets himself a double kill. Rising trapped as he heads up towards the cliff, but he himself in trouble as well. Oh, the stolen Burrow Strike comes down, but KP with the OG Burrow Strike takes him down. And Newbee, they'll find 3 there as MVP maybe just getting a little too cocky staying over that area of the map.
Well, at the beginning, they had a lot of vision. That was prior to the D wards going down there for Newbee. So on that cliff where Newbee currently have a ward, that's where MVP's vision was. And that's why Ryzen and the rest of MVP were feeling like, okay, we have the advantage because we have the vision advantage, which is normally the right logic. But unfortunately, Febby time-walked into an Eclipse, and then Dubu Phantom struck to Febby, who time-walked into an Eclipse, and they both just instantly died. So,
oh boy.
It was little bit of a subpar engagement, I suppose, if you're an MVP fan, but
yeah,
it's not like they're
it's
not like they're out of it yet. The only thing that's a little bit concerning is the fact that QO is gone for the Atos. It's a very mid-game oriented type of build. I know that that's when they really want to try to end the game, but as soon as BKBs start coming out, like when Luna gets hers, that item just becomes more or less useless. It does have nice synergy though with the PA. I will admit that. So you get the vision from the Stifling Dagger, and then you can just use the slow from very long distances. But yeah, it's getting kind of rough here for MVP.
MVP wants to be held back and still putting a lot of pressure on Newbee as they come around to the bottom half of the map. All 5-man there. At the same time, Newbee hanging around very patiently. KP and Kaka seeing if anyone comes back to hold this one, but MVP do look to commit for this push, just trying to use their efforts as a 5-man. They've got all the ults online. They know that they're at a strong point, especially with the Eclipse still on cooldown, but as see, he's going to try and do something. In fact, it looks like he's just holding them back whilst Newbee can look to try and finish off this top tower. They've got 4 members up here. So Newbee themselves, they should find this tier 2. Fortification will slow them down for a bit. Looks like MVP will continue to get this tier 2 bottom, so the song doesn't really accomplish too much at all, and just ends up being a tower for tower trade.
I mean, as long as they didn't have time to TP people back and still get the tower, I think is why the song was used, because sometimes you're making
so he guarantee the trade? Yeah,
he guarantees the trade, and he also guarantees the fact that MVP are not going to have time to get in position for a counter gank. So, you know, because the Void has Blink Dagger and whatnot, there's a chance for Febby to TP back and then get a Chrono, have everyone else TP in, and then go for a fight. If he songs there and delays the push long enough, that probability pretty much goes down to 0. So it's just, again, playing it safe, keeping the lanes push out as far as they can. That's more or less Newbee's game plan from here on out. They recognize the weakness of MVP and their inability to push the waves effectively. Because OD, he kills creeps kind of fast, but is not really the best. Ion Shell is more or less their only tool for really pushing things out too far.
I mean, KP,
that being said,
look at this man up here. He is
just
constantly hiding in the trees, waiting for some sort of action. I mean, on his own, even with an Epi, he can't necessarily solo kill any of these heroes, can he, very easily? He needs a +1.
No. Yeah. But the biggest thing about him in this game is that it requires a lot of a commitment for MVP to kill him. Like, they need to bring 2 or 3 heroes. They need to, like, chrono him or something, because he's got Yules in the stash once he wants to pick it up. Burrow's a great escape tool. He's got Blink Dagger. So killing him, in of itself, is annoying. And then MVP have to worry about the Naga pushing other lanes simultaneously. This is why the MVP draft just doesn't really scale that well into the later stages, because it's not about them being able to win fights. It's about being able to take the fight in the first place.
And talking about the Naga, SC's farmers just really started to skyrocket. You know, Radiant bots, 2.6k gold on top of the energy booster. You know, we can expect the Octarine to come around the corner very, very quickly. So, I mean, with that Naga in mind, do you think this game is definitely on a pretty massive timer for MVP?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, MVP will always have the capability of winning fights if they can get the engagement. They're always looking for the fight. That's why they're smoking right now. Yeah,
QO. EG coming in. Faith is going to try and go for the TP out. They need a Bash or an Astral. That will do it. QO holds back the SD and be able to make Faith pay for his movements. But the rest of the side of Newbee will get themselves out. And in fact, on the back lines of it, KP, went in with the Epi. finds himself a solo kill on the Darkseer, so at the end of the day, Newbee again with the better trade.
Yeah, Newbee are just outplaying them right now. I mean, they commit, what, 5 heroes to kill a Shadow Demon? They lose a Darkseer, which is much more valuable. You know, SC's on the other side of the map farming away. The Luna's, you know, eating up the jungle. Everything is more or less going according to plan. Both cores are still continually getting the farm.
And imagine if we look at the graph, it's actually not looking too bad. I mean, it's only 2k at this stage, so still pretty much minimal difference. But with this Naga in the game, it's certainly going to expect to increase exponentially. And so MVP really need to make something happen. It's been a while since they've been able to find something big with Febi's Chronos. He's nearly got the Diffusal Blade done. So with that in his kit, he can certainly pack a fair bit more of a punch and deal with some of these heroes. But, you know, as you said, the fact that KP with the Yours picked up, he's going to be very elusive. In fact, he's making a bit of a play up top. He's looking for Dubu. SCCC comes in with the bots. Dubu, no one to jump to, nowhere to hide. As Newbee, again, just outplaying MVP.
Now they're going to be forced into playing 5-man Dota. That's really what MVP are going to need to do. Heavy for the Chrono.
Now again, just dropping it solo on a Kaka support. He needs to find any kill he can, but Faith's going to make it hard. The disruption now, Triple U9 coming in with the Eclipse. The self-fuels, Lina keeping himself alive. And Kaka, he's still not dead, finally goes down. Oh, if they find the Luna as well, it's going to be huge. The wall's being dropped, and they do. MVP with the exact fight they need. And again, QO blinks forward, takes down a third, and MVP, this time, they are the ones that come out successful. A fantastic fight for them. Roshan's up for the taking, and MVP with the exact swing they need. I mean, you can see up top KP. I don't know if he's going to go for this, Andy. He may do.
If he can get it, it's so worth it. It's a high-risk play. If he can get it, it would be amazing.
Oh,
they're
boy.
They're sending the Naga over as well. They can song as soon as it dies.
Oh, I see. Here we go. They've got to do it soon, though. It is low. Illusion's going to spot it just in time, but no, the disruption and the QO clears the illusions out, so they can't see it. So they don't know to go. So good way of dealing with the illusions, just making sure that they don't have that vision in the pit. And MVP are able to take Roshan and get the Aegis onto QO, but that crisis averted, but only just in KP going in onto Febi, and he's got it. The solo epicenter is enough damage for the Void. And KP, can he get himself out, though? Reload's coming across. Nature's working against him as well. Vacuum onto KP. How's he going to play this? Burrow Strike. Oh, onto 2. Dubu jumping in. Well, the stolen Burrow Strike from Rising. QO comes in for the cleanup. And they will make the Sand King pay this time for taking down Febi.
Man, that was actually so close to being a disaster for MVP. If one of those illusions gets inside of the pit, SC instantly songs. And they probably could have killed the Roshan themselves and taken the Aegis and walked away with it. That was so nice from QO. He banishes one. He one-shots the other 2 illusions because of how much damage OD does. It's just a very fortunate turn of events for them. They needed that fight bottom so badly. And Newbee were feeling very confident. You know, they throw a solo Chrono out onto a support. Kaka lives through the Chrono, and they're like, alright, let's try to turn this, let's try to fight. But the pipe and the mech coming in from Velo keeps everybody through the Eclipse, and then at the end of it, they don't have really any damage left. And Kaka ended up actually dying without even using Laguna, even though he lived through the Chrono, so it was a pretty sloppy fight from Newbee, all things considered, and they should have been able to get away with more. He is
Kaka,
so
he's about
so
to be
dead.
OS frogged. It's a good attempt. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
He tried, bless him.
Yeah, unfortunately, Yule's only lasts 2.5 seconds, so it's not long enough to TP out.
And QO, of course, I think at this point of the game, you can certainly see why he did go for the Midas. It's allowing him to keep on par with a Naga that's got Radiance and Octarine at this stage. You know, he's on the same net worth, which is pretty impressive. I mean, obviously OD can farm very well with the Astral, with the damage to clear the camps, but yeah, QO doing a great job this game, keeping himself up there at the top.
Well, that's why we were talking about, you know, him understanding the pace of the game when he decided to buy the Midas. He knew that it wasn't going to be like a 15-20 minute GG. It's like, all right, it's going to take a while for either team to really hit their peak, and if we can't find the fights, then we want to at least be able to farm at the same level, so when the fight does happen, we're going to have the same item progression as Newbee does, and it's worked out very well for them so far.
And I am liking this as well. Look at Ryzen. He didn't actually pick up the Blink Dagger. I saw him earlier with about 2.2k gold. He's going straight for Aghanims, and he's only a few hundred gold away from having it complete. And I mean, this game, there's a lot of very nice ults to take if you've got the Aghs upgrade.
Oh god, yeah. This is like the Rubik dream game.
It is the dream game. I mean, Oh man.
There's like really only one other hero in the game that I would say they would want on the other team if you were playing Rubik, and that's Omni Knight, right?
I hear a BKB. Oh. Killer.
QO just, you know, farming BKB.
Wait, was the no? Wait, Midas up. I don't know. That was.
It depends on his hotkeys, right? So a lot of people have their items right next to each other on the keyboard,
yes.
and sometimes you try to Midas, but his Midas has been on cooldown.
Oh, that's
for
what I
a
was
really
thinking. Maybe he tried to blink or something, and he got it mixed up.
It's possible.
Febby!
Chrono.
Oh, he does love chronoing the Kaka, but this time Kaka getting the last laugh. And Velo TPing out. Faith is still around it, but they're not going to chase him, so yeah, a little unfortunate. But I guess for the plus side, there's not a lot of pressure being put on by Newbee at this stage, so MVP can wait it out for another chrono. But at the same time, I guess that's just more space you're giving to this Naga. And QO jumping in very aggressively here. A media song. QO. He's going to Astral himself here. KP going straight in onto the backline. Is looking for Ryzen. Ryzen goes for the steal. Steals the Sandstorm, but it doesn't matter. He's down. They'll look to focus KP. At the same time, QO's still trying to fight it. He's got the Aegis. He's going to be back for round 2. Febby, they will find KP, but can they actually get QO out of here? Defensively, Astral himself. Oh, and the timing's there with the Light Strike. Luna just beats into QO. Febby's trying to man fight. Gets himself out with the time walk, but the jump forward from Faith has another disruption to set this up. They need a stun from Kaka. Can he get him range? Oh. Yes, he can! They'll do it. They get a double kill. And some just incredibly aggressive plays from MVP and QO in particular. I mean, he did have the Aegis, but it does not pay off at all.
I don't even know why he did that. Okay, so there's like 3 reasons why that was not the play. First off, they didn't really have any vision behind the tier 2. They had one ward near the Ancients, which is okay, but I don't really think it revealed any of Newbee's heroes. So he's going in more or less blind. He accidentally BKB'd while he was farming, so he didn't have BKB after his Aegis wore off, and his Void just missed a solo chrono on Lina. Like, there's no way you ever pressure that. I don't know if they were letting like the state of the game get to them, if they were really scared about, you know, the Luna and the Naga Siren getting out of control, but that was like uncharacteristically bad play from QO. I don't have any idea why he went on that.
Maybe as you said, just frustration with the fact that they are against this Naga Luna.
The thing you have to consider is, you know, OD is actually really good at killing illusions. He one-shots them, so he's been keeping the Naga Siren farm down by virtue of just being in different lanes and killing the illusions before the Riptide comes out, so that way the waves aren't actually being pushed as hard as you would expect.
Nice deny there from Febby, jumping in, taking the tier 2. Top lane, SCCC, I mean, better. You can run. It's going to be enough, yeah, Dubu's there, just to make sure SC doesn't go in for more. As they just continuously push these lanes out. Unite now with 3.2k gold on top of the BKB. Faith, Ether Lens on top of the Blink. We did see after that last fight that Ryzen was able to pick up the Aghanims. So we'll see if the big plays can come out. I mean, one big ult steal, and you can certainly turn around these team fights against Newbee. But again, it's going to be hard with just how big the 2 cores are getting over on the side of the Radiant.
Yeah, again, it's all about the lane push. If you can get the lanes out as MVP and take a fight, you will be able to win the fight just based on having like the OD damage and Chronos for utility, plus, you know, Ryzen being extremely farmed on a Rubik. The one thing that we haven't really talked a lot about, because, you know, we've been focusing a lot on the lanes and how to keep them pushed out, is if you're actually MVP and you have a pipe and you have midfield, things like Epicenter, Eclipse, you know, Lena's damage.
I don't know if you saw that, Andy, but that was a little bit disheartening. Bottom lane, I KP and Kaka went in on a solo Darkseer, blue Epicenter, blue Laguna Blade. Velo walks it out with a third of his health left, and he's fine. So,
oh yeah, he's got Guardian Greaves on a pipe. That man is not dying to magic damage.
That was a ballsy attempt from Newbee. And
it's kind of funny that you just saw that, because I was just making the point how hard it is to kill MVP with magic damage.
QO? I mean, again, getting caught out. This is, you know, they need QO to keep his cool. They can't have him throw away his life like this. He's down for a full minute, and he does not have buyback available. And the real kicker, Midas is on cooldown, so sucks to be him.
Every core right now who's watching this game is just dying inside looking at that Midas, because I know that feel.
Efficiency.
I've lived that life, yeah. I've lived that life many a time. But it's more that I don't necessarily think it's frustration, but I think it's MVP trying to maybe play it a little bit too greedy. So at this stage in the game, because Newbee had so many ways... Oh my god, that tower is getting wrecked, by the way.
He's got backdoor. It's fine.
Well, when they had a creep, it was... Now it's not.
Yeah, now it's certainly getting wrecked with the illusions out. And Luna opening up fire onto the racks. There will be the buyback. It did just come up in terms of gold. Well, the Chinese lag comes through. We're seeing a few frames to the second here. Febby in, out, but the racks are down. That's all you need to know. And no one playing with their lives as Newbee are able to just walk in, walk out, force out a buyback from QO, and take a full set of racks. And at this point, this is where it becomes incredibly scary for MVP.
Yeah, getting a racks taken away from you against Newbee's lineup, that's pretty much like losing an arm and a leg on your ability to win this game. They need to just go for a fight. Like it doesn't. You have to just like at some point ignore where the lanes are and just go for the engagement. Try to kill whatever heroes you can and just push. And you can see QO. He's like freaking go down a lane because if we keep playing this game, we're just not gonna win. Like we don't have the heroes to be able to keep the lanes pushed down.
Do you really want to be farming this creep wave? Oh, the juke's down. He pops the BKB, but he's been Demonic Purge. Triple U9 though, pops the BKB. Just man fights against QO, and QO, he's almost certainly going to go down. He tried to Astral himself at the end. Febby's come in with the Chronosphere. They're trying to do something in return. They'll burst down the Void though. And GG, well played is called. It all becomes too much for MVP. And Newbee cleaning up the game very nicely, and the question that's got to be asked, Dan, is how do they change it up in game 2? I mean, have you just got to ban one of these SDs or Lunas, or do you take away the Naga from Newbee? What's the plan?
I think the Naga was the biggest issue, because, you know, MVP were fighting 4v4 or 4v5 a lot of the game, because, you know, SC was not really in the fights, so Luna was off somewhere else farming, so Newbee were taking these engagements and forcing like solo chronos on supports a lot of the time, which just allows the support or the cores on the side of Newbee to get the farm they need to just straight up win the game. Now, granted, even though I liked Newbee's draft better from the get-go, I think that MVP played it very well until after they killed Roshan. If QO didn't dive behind that tower, they were actually in a good position because for once the lanes were actually pushed a bit and they could apply pressure. I think he just got a little bit overzealous and said, okay, this is our time, let's just freaking go. And then said, oh, we don't have BKB and we don't have Chronosphere. And then the fight was pretty much a total disaster. And at that point, like that was the stage in the game where it's like, okay, now it's like impossible. And then it lost top racks and they knew how far behind they were, so they just inevitably called GG. But in regards to draft, MVP plays those style of lineups better than pretty much any other team in the world because they've played it so much. I think they can still make it work, but maybe think about banning the Naga Siren because that's the one thing that just completely cuts off your ability to play the way you want.
Absolutely, and as we saw, they just get pushed into a corner where they realize there's no way coming back. So we'll indeed see if the MVP stop Newbee from getting their hands on the SC Naga in game 2, which will be right round the corner, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more MDL LAN action as Newbee at the moment leading the series 1-0.